If you have a good concept, a good business plan, you have good food, I think, you need to risk it. You need to do it. You need to jump.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. After years in working in a big hospitality group, what's it like stepping out on your own for the very first time and in a tiny venue that requires a very hands-on approach? GIULIA Treuner is the owner of Jules and Harry by Jules. Julie, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to get you on the show. You've stepped away from a big group and gone out on your own. What was that process like for you?
Very interesting process, very challenging and very different to everything I knew before, but actually very exciting, and I would say 3 years later now, very rewarding.
How different was the role that you were doing before sort of embarking on your own journey compared to what you started with 3 years ago?
Well, before I would say when I worked before for the big hospitality group, it basically gave me all the skills and knowledge I needed to open my own place. And there was always support and help behind. So you had always someone to talk to or to ask questions if you didn't know what to do. When I started out as my own, we had to learn by doing, basically, step by step, day by day. It's hard in the beginning because you do not really know what's coming your way. But we got along. It's working quite well. And it's just we learn day by day.
Tell us a little bit about the first business you created 3 years ago.
The first business we built was Jules in Surrey Hills. It's basically a small, welcoming, very warm venue in the heart of Crown Street. It's probably very surprising for a lot of people, but the venue itself is just 45 square meters. We have a kitchen, the kitchen is basically 3 to 3 meters. But we can do, I would say, a day 200 people. So it didn't work from the beginning on, to be honest. We have a huge outside seating. In summer, great. In winter, not that much. However, we couldn't do the volume in the beginning, but I would say after some while we learned how to get around it, how to do it. And today we can do up to 200 people a day.
That's amazing. That is such a small space. Why did you choose that location?
I was looking around a lot. We have visited a lot of sites to find the perfect venue. But I come from a big hospitality group and it was always big venues. But I wanted something more personal, smaller. I also thought it minimizes the risk in the beginning. And I just saw the place. It was all open, all window front. And the outside seating reminded me of Italy. And I was like, that's it. It was an art gallery before, actually. So we had to build everything by ourselves from scratch. Was very interesting. Didn't work as planned always, but we figured it out. And we had straight away a space issue. Let's be very honest. However, we figured this all out and it's working just fine.
How many people do you have working for you in such a small space to feed so many people?
Well, on a busy night, we are like 4 back of house and 4 front of house. So on one night, I would say 8 people. It's at least 3 chefs, 1 kitchen hand, and then you have 1 bartender and at least 3 front of house staff.
That must create a really sort of vibrant, energetic, given such a small space.
Yeah, it's very intimate. We have a lot of regulars and neighbors. I call it always, it's like a neighborhood restaurant. It's very personal if you come in because you literally step into the front and you are standing in the... Apologies. My dogs are going crazy. You basically stand in the kitchen when you walk in.
Amazing. Well, I want to explore what you're doing there and also at Harry's a bit later on. But take us back to when you were young. Whereabouts did you grow up and what sort of role did food play?
Well, I grew up in Germany. Food was always a big thing for us because my parents were traveling a lot. And as every German, most likely you go every year to Italy at least once. And that's where I actually found my love for pasta.
Take us on those trips to Italy. Whereabouts did you visit, and do you have any sort of experiences you can share?
Well, normally the whole family traveled. So my grandfather and my grandmother came with as well. So we traveled through Tuscany, Sicily, the Gardasee, which is very close to Germany. So every year, I think till I was 14, we made our trip to Italy with the whole family and friends. And it was just a great experience because I don't know if you have been in Italy, but you come into a buzzing street with restaurants left and right, everyone sitting on the street. It just has a different vibe than, for example, in Australia or in Germany in the dining scene. And yeah, we just loved it. It was remembers me of family coming together, good times, and just having the best food.
You mentioned that you didn't actually want to go into the hospitality sector. You wanted to get away from it. But is there any sort of advice or memories that you have from that time that you use now as a business owner?
Yeah, I would say I took from my dad. He was working a lot. He was very dedicated to his family business. And I think that's just, I took this over because once you start your own, your dedication and is just a different level, I would say, because we built everything from scratch. We didn't have any bank loans at the time. We opened after COVID. So, like, everything you do becomes more meaningful, I would say. It's just completely different vibe and responsibility.
You mentioned that your hospitality career started in Australia. Tell us about that. Why did you come to, what lured you to Australia?
Basically, I came and just wanted to stay up to half a year for work and travel. And yeah, then I tried to find a job basically, and I did my career was in sales at the time because I feel everyone who grew up in a family business restaurant, they just had enough of it because you always have to help on a Sunday lunch. And, when you have this feeling already like you must do it and you are all the time around a restaurant, it's a different kind of environment where you don't choose to come. So I came to Australia and couldn't really find anything in my expertise of work. And then I actually started, how typical as a German, at Munich Brauhaus as a waiter.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Interesting, reminded me of Munich. And actually, the Löwenbräu, as it was called at the time, was just a feeling of home a bit in Australia. That's actually also where, in this company, I met my husband and a lot of friends, which I'm close to till today. Was actually very interesting. I loved working there, and I just worked my way up from there on.
Tell us about your time in Australia before opening your own business. Who are the really important people and venues that help shape you in the hospitality sense?
I would say definitely my dad, but also my grandfather. My grandfather was also self-employed, not in hospitality. However, we always shared the love for food. So we are all good eaters at home. So um, it it's just I think what we transferred into Jules was more like, come on in, feel home, welcoming with great service, great food. Especially we make our pastas ourselves, so we take very good pride in making everything ourselves from scratch, what we can. So I think my mom, of course, as well, and my grandmother, the best cooks I know. When you grow up with your grandma's recipes. So yeah, I take a lot from them.
Tell us a little bit about Harry's as well.
Harry's, we opened 1 year after Jules. Never thought this is possible when I started Jules, that a year later I would open a second venue. Harry's is the name is from my grandfather, so I named it after him. And Harry's is a bit different to Jules. It's a full inside venue, has great window front as well, but we thought after having Jules with so much outside seating, we need an inside venue. And it's just down the road from Jules. It's 1.5 kilometers apart. Has a completely different vibe. I would say more casual, more fun, even maybe younger. And we introduced pizzas there as well.
What's it like now, sort of managing two venues? Do you find that your role is a little bit different?
Yeah, because before, you could be at Jules and you would be there. Now you have to split yourself. That's when my husband actually came full time on board, and he's working within the business now as well. So we basically share the venues at the moment. So if I'm at Jules, he's at Harry's. If I'm at Harry's, he's at Jules. That's the kind of thing. So yeah, it's different. It's you have more people on board, more responsibility. I feel different kind of clientele as well. Even so, it's just 1.5 kilometers apart. Different approach to everything. To be honest, Schultz is not running like Harry's. It's like if you come, it's completely two different venues. Even so, this was never really the intention. It just came out of it.
Tell us about your love of Italian food. What was it like creating and delving into the world of Italian food for the restaurants?
Well, when I thought about opening my first business, for me, it was clear straight away that I want to do Italian and especially pastas. I was in the beginning not as interested into pizza, but I said, I think we should actually produce fresh pasta in-house, which we serve up. What we also did, most of our pasta itself is also vegan. Yeah, sounds weird, but actually you wouldn't taste the difference. We have two pastas on the menu which contains eggs, and then the rest is all vegan, but you won't taste the difference or feel the difference. Texture is the same. So for me, it was very important to actually find a chef who is mind liked it, liked it with me, who wants to do proper Italian food. And that's when I brought Alessio Rago on board, who is our mastermind behind it. And I just threw ideas at him and said, like, I think that's what I want to do. I want to build my first menu basically on classics, but with a twist, and bring something honest onto the plate. And yeah, I think half a year before we opened, we worked on a weekly basis to define what kind of pasta we want to have, how to make it. We had to bring the machine from Italy to get the proper thing, and that's how Jules came to life at the time. Yeah.
Tell us about the decision to make a lot of the dishes vegan on the menu.
Well, because it was Surrey Hills, so I talked to Alessia about it. I said, like, I think there's a lot of vegans around as well, a lot of gluten-free we don't produce in-house, but we must have as well. It made just everything more easy for to cater to a bigger variety of people. And actually, no one in the beginning understood that it's actually vegan because you couldn't taste a difference.
Take us through the menu. You mentioned that you sort of want classical dishes in a modern sort of twist, but are there a couple of dishes that sort of speak of what you do there at Jules?
Yeah, I would say so. So I think we have like two signature pastas. One is our squid ink fettuccine, which is on the menu since day one. So it's a black ink pasta and in a bisque sauce with crab. And that became one of our high sellers till today. And then I actually saw online this at the time, the vodka pasta went viral, but wasn't really as popular in Australia yet. So I came with this idea to Alessio, and he said, "Oh my God, I have never heard of this." And he actually, it's so funny. He called up his mom in Italy and said, "Mom, have you ever heard about a vodka pasta?" And she said, "Oh yes, I know. I can give you the recipe." So we are serving till today Alessio's mom's recipe of a vodka pasta in Jules.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great, and it's working really well. It went viral at the time, what was great. And yeah, it has never been changed on the menu.
You opened the restaurant in a really interesting period of time in our lives, sort of just after COVID or during that period. Well, it's been 3 years now. How different is the business compared to when you started?
Well, when we started, it was a weird time. So we opened Jules directly after we came out of lockdown. So to be honest, I think in the beginning we were very lucky because people wanted to go out. People were, excited finally out of the house again. So we got a good walk-ins in the beginning, and the media was very helpful as well for small businesses, and was very interesting time. I would say a hard time as well, but actually we came out above very well, like, because like I said, the people wanted to go out and see new stuff, what were others doing, etc. So that was great. 3 years later, now I think it's at the moment a very challenging time for hospitality. When you look around, you can see so many venues closing, so many groups. It's actually very scary, in my opinion. But I'm very glad that we have neighborhood restaurants. Like, we have really regular customers coming every week. There is so much support around the community as well. I'm actually so proud that my venues are female owned and led. So a lot of females actually are very supporting as well. Women are empowering women. I can really say this. That's what I experienced in the last 3 years.
Wow. Have you had to change and adapt your restaurants at the moment, given the economic climate and the sort of the pressure on hospitality?
Slightly, yes. So you can see we have the same amount of people coming through the door, but the spend per head is just less. I think it's due to the rising costs, living costs, which we all experience, obviously. We tried to make slight changes. I'm not a big friend of like special deals or anything like this. Yeah, because look, we make all our pasta in-house. This is a lot of labor which goes into making one dish for us. So we try to buy the high quality veggies, meat, everything like that. We don't want to sacrifice our standards to make it maybe cheaper, because I think that's not what we are about. But obviously, yes, we do experience differences. I think what we changed the most was the kind of marketing we do today compared to last year. But at the same time, we are very lucky and fortunate because, like I said, we have the same amount of people coming in. It's just the spend per head is less. So yeah, it's a different climate than last year or the year before.
You mentioned that your marketing has changed. Give us an example of sort of what you used to do and what you're doing now to lure people in.
Well, I after half a year, a young guy, his name is Billy Daniels. I can highly recommend him. Probably the best PR person I know. Walked over the street at the time. He opened his own business, his PR agency, and I was his very first customer. So I didn't really have much experience with this. And I said, okay, let's give it a shot. So we tried it out for 2 months, and Billy never left. He's here till today. Great guy, knows everyone. And what we changed basically was our social media a bit. We have Tanya Acitelli is our social media lady. That's how I call her. aka the Sydney Food Slut, and that's actually really how she's called. So so we work very close with them together. When we started, you work over pictures and like mainly food pictures and then venue pictures. Now this year we go with the time, obviously, and look what's out there. The newer generation, I would say, is all into TikTok. I'm not as experienced in TikTok, so we had to adjust a bit, creating reels and also introducing who's working with you, our head chef, our managers, our floor staff, our kitchen staff. So we got more into this, creating reels, going on TikTok, trying to make a buzz about not just the food, but also the venue and the people, to show the vibe. And it was just different a year ago. So now the approach from the social media is a bit changed over the time.
Yeah. It's the world has changed in the last sort of 20 years so much compared to a traditional restaurant and what you need to do. How important is finding those specialists for you and for the restaurant?
For me, when we started, Jules was going well, and I thought we were doing so great. But actually, I had no idea till I had my PR agent and Tanya on board, like what's actually possible. Like it was shocking. Like, you have some influencers coming in, some you invite, but some come just by because they saw you on TikTok. And honestly, in 2021, I didn't even look into TikTok. I think it's the next generation, who grew up with TikTok. I was more the Instagram person. So We had people coming in, oh, we saw you on TikTok. And then I was like, what do you mean? And then, that's where the hype came from. And once Billy got us into the newspapers of Sydney, and Tanya had great contacts to everyone in hospitality, it took on a different level and a different, I would say, outpour of people who came to us, like from all over Sydney. We have people coming from Cronulla, coming here for dinner. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Yeah.
What's been the biggest surprise for you as a small business owner?
Biggest surprise, actually, how supporting the community can be. Actually, really, and how important it is to have a good team around you and surround yourself with great employees and also specialists like Billy and Tanya you have around. Also, the suppliers, such a positive surprise how supportive they are. And we call it like, in Jules and Harry's, it's one team, one dream. It's like family to me. Like my chefs are working, especially my head chef from Harry's now. He started with us when we opened Jules. He is there from day one. Like, we are not just colleagues, we are friends. Like, we are friends for life.
That's amazing. For those out there that are looking to take the step that you did and open their own sort of small venue, what sort of advice would you have for them?
Do you know how many people are asking me this? It's crazy. My advice is, all the possibilities, what can go wrong, it also can go right. I think just you need to risk it at the time. If you have a good concept, a good business plan, you have good food, I think, you need to risk it. You need to do it. You need to jump. There is nothing else I can say. If you are confident in what you are doing, you have a great team around you, a good chef, and you can transfer this all into your own venue and get a personality. You can identify yourself with it. I really think you just need to try it.
Well, you've created two venues that have really become hubs of the community there. What plans do you have in the next sort of year or two?
My plan always was to have 3 venues in Australia, in Sydney. So I would be very interested in opening one more venue. I also have the idea what I want to do. But at the moment, I think I will just wait how winter is going until end of the year, and maybe we'll have a look around for venues again. It's actually so funny because Jules and Harry's, I was not looking for these venues. I just drove past and saw lease. And that's how I found my first 2 venues. So I think one day I will drive again and I see the place where the 3rd venue will be. So the 3rd venue is in the pipeline, but there is no date, no place as of yet, just ideas. And I think after this winter and hopefully the climate will get a bit better, the economical climate will get a bit better, and the people are the cost of living are reducing again. I think we will be looking into opening a 3rd venue.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are very excited to hear what that might be. What do you love about what you do?
I love everything about it at the moment. No, I love working with a great team in a kind of different environment which we built when we started Jules and also with Harry's. We are not a big hospitality group. We are actually a very small business. Now we can say it's family run through my husband and me. I just love that I work with reliable, very experienced, talented people in the industry. And I just have really fun to create something every day. New. We have specials on every day, so everyone can bring in their ideas. I think I loved everything we do at the moment because we really put so much care into it, want to do everything by ourselves. Like, we are creating new dishes on a daily basis. And it's just great to work with such motivated and reliable individuals, which I never thought would be possible. And I have really fun going to work every day.
Well, Julia, it's an absolute honour to have you on Deep in the Weeds today to hear just a bit of your story. Can't wait to see what you do next. Please keep in touch and we'll catch up again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we take a deep dive into the lives of the incredible people who ply their trade in the food and hospitality sector. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay safe and be well.